What's up, everybody? I'm coming to you live on recording from Duluth. I am doing my Thirsty Pagan brewing tasting tomorrow, which will be in another video. But tonight we're doing a reader review. Jaime from Milford, Connecticut sent me 2 beers. Thank you, Jaime. The first one, well, I think it's the first one. They're not labeled, so it's kind of hard to tell, but he sent a dark lager and then an IPA, and the dark lager won first place in a local homebrew contest, but this is a rebrew of that batch, to which he tweaked it slightly by adding 4 ounces of smoked malt. So let's see if we can get that one going. I think it's this one. Like I said, they're not marked. So this is either the dark lager or the IPA. It looks like it's probably the dark lager. Alright. It's nice and clear. It's a nice kind of ambery color. Mostly, I don't know, it kind of looks like a Vienna lager, so. Oh, it smells nice. I think I get, maybe it's because I just read it, but I think I maybe get a hint of smoke in the nose. I get a lager character, kind of the, not in a negative way, but kind of the buttery flavor that you kind of get from a lager yeast. Let's get into the recipe a little bit. 1065 to 1016. Was gonna Bohemian Lager 2124. Oh, that's the yeast that I just used in my first Pils batch, and then I'll use it in subsequent batches. 8 pounds of Pilsner, 2 pounds of Vienna, half a pound of dextrose corn sugar, 8 ounces of chocolate, 8 ounces of carafoam. He's got some Hallertau for bittering, some Zaz, got 45, Hallertau 30, Zaz 15, Zaz and Hallertau towards the end. Mashed at 152. So there you go. Let's see what else we get out of this beer. It is a nice looking beer. I wonder if I can do the old kind of deal. You see, we're in clown territory down here. Yeah, my mother-in-law is into the clowns. Not as much as she used to be. This is probably only a fraction of what she once had. I think she's gotten rid of a lot of it. I am getting a little bit of that smoked malt. If you wouldn't have said that it was smoked malt, I probably would be wondering, what am I tasting? What is that little slightly peculiar flavor that doesn't detract at all? It is a nice flavor, and I do like smoked beers. So the first thing I always sort of come to with tasting somebody's homebrew is it clean? Is there any defects, off flavors? In this beer, no. There aren't any, which is always a plus. It looks great. I'm assuming it's just sort of, I don't know, Whirlflock. That's some kind of fining thing, right? He did say have Whirlflock in there. I've never used it. I'm not super familiar with it. But I believe that's some kind of fining product, and he did put that in there. But it's very clear, and lagers, will get clear if they sit around a little bit. I think he might have said, let's see if I have when this one was made. No, not on there. But time, of course, will often clear up most any beer. I thought he did write me. Let me see. I thought he wrote this here. Da 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 da. Oh, you know what? It might be in some sort of like emails or messages that I have. He might have said when it was. Anyway, this is a nice tasting beer, Jaime. 2 pounds of Vienna. Let me take another drink here. don't know if you can hear any of that craziness upstairs. The kids are going kind of nuts. I think there's probably a little bit of flavor and sweetness that might be coming from the Vienna. You know, you could also, I probably have used Munich in a beer like this. It will give it a little different kind of sweetness. It is a very nice color. And, you know, I keep saying it's clear, but it is very clear in this glass. I like it. This is the kind of beer that a guy can drink. 1065. That's kind of a good, robust gravity for a amber lager. It's almost a, you know, imperial amber lager. Very nice. I can see how it would be scored well. I mean, this isn't the beer that did win that contest, but this is a really nice drinking beer, well made. I'm enjoying it. I think I'm going to stop the camera and finish enjoying it. I got a bunch more here, and then we'll get on to the IPA. Alright, I shared a little bit of the dark lager with my father-in-law, and he was drinking. He's like, oh, there's... And he is not a big beer person, okay? He likes beer, but he likes cheap beer. And he was like, oh, there's a little something in there. What is that? It's like coffee and you know, and I was really impressed that he picked up with that, and I told him about the smoked malt, and he's like, oh yeah, it's kind of like a campfire, like wood smoke, and he was getting just a little bit of that, so he liked that as well, and I finished my portion of that, and I thought it was good. So now we're going on to Rainy Day IPA, which Jaime says was the first beer that his wife brewed. He brewed it with his wife, is my understanding. That was just water. So let's try this. These are both filled with I think he said a bottling wand. Something like that, beer gun, whatever those things are. This one has London ale yeast. Now this is not as clear, but that's maybe, you know, normal for ales or hoppy beers, and I just I'm covering it here because I was getting like a nice hop aroma off it. Let's go over the recipe quick. 1061 to 1016. You know, both of his gravities were a little high. 1016 for both the lager and the IPA. So, Jaime, I wonder if you're doing yeast starters, if you're doing aeration, if you're doing all the proper steps. I mean, I'm assuming you're not mashing super high. I think I saw 152 on the lager, 154 on this. It's kind of maybe on the high side. I don't know. It's not like it's a terrible thing, but 1016 I would think for both of these beers might be a little on the high side for a final gravity, so that's just something I'm just throwing out there. 8 pounds Munich. I'm sorry, 8 pounds Pils, 1.25 pounds Munich, pound of Victory, 8 ounce Carafoam, 4 ounce Special B, 2 ounce of Columbus at 60, 1 ounce Zaz at 10, 1 ounce Amarillo at 5, and 2 ounces Amarillo at 0. So now I'm wondering if that's my... I think it is. I am getting that Amarillo. So that's pretty cool that just from no dry hops, but just from 0 minute addition, I'm definitely getting a nice hop aroma. London Ale 3 yeast, Y yeast, 1318. See how it tastes. Yeah, that's an IPA. Or, you know, 1061 to 1016, it's got an ABV he has here of 5.8. So it could also, even though it's a pretty high original gravity, it's also kind of a high final gravity. It's maybe almost more like a pale ale, alcohol-wise. I mean, again, no off flavors. Cleanly drinking. It's got a bitterness. It's got a hop flavor. It's got a hop aroma. got the malt character. It's also with the 1016 final gravity. There's residual, sugar in the beer. I guess I would like to see this beer maybe attenuate a little bit more. The hop punch and the hop brightness would come through a little bit more. This beer is really, it is murky. Now it's just kind of funny because we all maybe are aware of the New England IPA phenomenon, and you don't need, clear beers. Now the last beer was very clear. You can certainly get IPAs that are nice and bright and clear and still have all this hop character. I don't know if I'm getting, excuse me, a little bit of a muddled flavor from malt, the yeast, something else, and maybe it's kind of psychological with it not being very clear. Isn't it weird? It's not drinking like a New England IPA, so then because it's not clear, you're like, oh, well, should it be a little bit clearer, and when it tastes different if it was. But that's just sort of preference, perhaps. It's a nice beer. It's totally enjoyable. I'm going to enjoy drinking it. There's no problem there. He did sort of say it was kind of a thrown together thing. The IPA is a random beer that my wife and I whipped up one day, her first brew, by the way. I just grabbed some random grains and hops from my inventory and brewed it up. He does talk about modifying his water for the IPA, which I'll be honest is a little beyond my realm of expertise because it's just not something that I do. But he's given me calcium, magnesium, etc., chloride. I don't really even know some of these other chemical molecules, whatever they are. So the fact that this is kind of a spontaneous brew and just throwing stuff together, I think there's a couple of thoughts I have. One is it still is a interesting, well-made, drinkable brew, but then the other side is you could say, is this what I would really want to have on tap? If I want to make an IPA, do I want to modify it in some way? And so I think that you might, or if this was what you like, then you can go as is. Definitely has hop aroma and flavor and bitterness. But you might decide to modify it a little bit and make it more like something that would be the ideal of whatever you're kind of trying to strive for. It's definitely a well-made beer, and he's making good beers that are clean, and that's always really the number one thing that I look for. So thanks for sending these, Jaime. I appreciate it. I'll enjoy drinking the rest of these, and thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Catch you later.